So when will we rationally look at the origins of humans and agree with God that what the truth is? We believe in Darwinism and evolution and all this stuff. But you know something? At the top of the thing, I'll tell you this: when your scientists and your researchers are evil, you're gonna go spin in circles. You're gonna have a whole bunch of falsehood. You're gonna just end up with confusion. But if they were men of God and seriously trying to respect God, then it would be all good. We'll save ourselves trying to recolonize Mars or colonize Mars and the sun and all that stuff, and just happy to live here and live right. So when Christ comes, He's gonna do the real deal and change us and give us that privilege we want to live in space. Now here we have to the left here what's supposed to be Mother Lucy. She was supposed to be the first mother. And then on the right here, I have a skull of some person that lived. Now, from bare logic, it seems to me that this big skull could end up producing a small person like Mother Lucy. But on the other hand, how can Mother Lucy has or have children that will end up growing and be as big as that skull? Now that skull means that that skull belongs to probably is about 40 feet tall, probably about 40 feet tall, because I am 5, and that skull is more than 8 times my head. So that just for nice little thing, 40 feet tall. Now it's difficult to grow up. It's tough to do the right thing. It's tough to climb a mountain. It's easy to descend the mountain. It's easy to decline from this big giant into this dwarf here. You see, you could decline from being a big giant like that if you don't eat right and if your environment is bad. You won't be able to achieve your potential. So you'll start declining. Now, don't mind how you eat well. You can't go beyond that if that is the dominant um, gene for height in Mother Lucy. But this is so disrespectful and so on. To further tell you that humans came from some one cell and developed into this big complex machine that we are. Now they're trying to have cars that will drive by themselves, and it's so impossible because a child probably could do that better than that computer. I mean, you can't duplicate the human at all. And so, I wish that people stop all this stupidness and because even genetics, we have genetics now, and this would dispel a whole bunch of myths about the origins of humans and whether we could have been this small and grow up big and this big and grow small. Genetics could explain that because from the concept of coming from one little cell, an amoeba, into this big complex machine and have different species, birds and alligator and snake and all that, it's kind of crazy because genetic teach that you're going to be producing similar to the producer. In other words, humans going to always continue producing humans that look like themselves. And so genetics would also say that it's possible that a giant this big could end up developing the, the evolution into this Mother Lucy stature by amalgamating with other creations, having sex with animals or other things that aren't human and that are smaller, and so on. Because you see, if this big giant, no, it won't be the man, it'll be the woman who's going to try that trick. She gets, say, one of them gorillas, and say it's possible that the gorilla and a human could have babies. Now, I don't know if they ever checked out whether it's not possible or what. But let me say it's possible that they can have a baby. So this big giant woman have sex with this gorilla. She'd be able to deliver that little baby, but it's difficult for the man to have sex with a gorilla female because the penis is going to be almost big like a lamppost or bigger than a lamppost, and you can't enter her vagina and so on. And so um, that is what happened. They got the women. If you look at them sex shows, them sex we call them the porn. You see women having sex with horse and with all kind of stuff. I mean, we men, and it's men that forcing these women and persuading them to do this kind of stupidness. So in the beginning, um, after Cain killed Abel, Cain's descendants went off and having sex with different animals and different organisms and started to decline, and that was a creation of Cain, a creation of men. Okay, But the sons of Seth continued to be giants because they kept doing what God ordained that they should do. Don't have sex with other animals or anything like that. And so eventually, after the population of the world grew, they began to live close by. And here are the stalwarts, these big giants who are the sons of God and not angels. They are the sons of God. They saw these exotic looking women that started looking short or different and all that. And eventually they have sex with them. And um, these, you know, um, men have sex with these giant women. And so over time we start to decline because in genetics it would say now these humans that they started to have sex with, who were the sons of men, they weren't living as long as the sons of God because Adam lived to be 932 years, others lived to 951 or 52 years. And I'm sure that as they start to have sex with these animals, their lifespan would have been maybe 800, maybe 700, 500. So that when they start having sex with them now, it means that in the gene now, which were pure and which were the sons of God, these giants, their offspring gonna have now recessive genes of either giant or these pygmies. And over time, you find that in the scheme of things, when you have sex with something, it's different. You have some going to look like the animal that they had sex with, and some will look like the giants. And so those who look alike going to form their own little communities and their own societies. And then there going to be some in between. They're going to have to find their own society, you know? And so eventually, after about 15 different sex rungs, those that keep coming short going to remain short, and those that keep coming tall will remain tall dominantly. But I think in a recessive way, they can have the tall and have short recessive, and the short can have tall recessive. But down to when Moses they were trying to colonize Canaan, you had Goliath who was a giant. He was bigger than the others, and his spear was so heavy that many people probably had to fetch it. But he had 6 toes and 6 fingers on each feet, foot, and hand. And I'm sure that this giant here that we see here, being 40 feet tall, might have had 12 toes, 12 fingers. Maybe his finger was the size of a lamppost or bigger. And you see, we come down now to the pyramids. People are saying that gods or people came from outer space or they used ramps or whatever to build this pyramid. But I want to believe that after the flood, and remember Noah lived up to 500 years, so the giants were still there. They may not have been as tall as Adam or as Cain or as Seth, but they were strong, they were giants. And these are the people that lift up those stones and put them on the pyramid. We are thinking in terms of the pyramid being built with people like our stature, and it's going to be impossible. But if you figure that this was a giant here, and after the flood, and after um, Ham went to Egypt and started, developing stuff, that they were giants still, and they were able to build it. And so my little presentation here is that you can't believe that this little mother Lucy here was the first mother, because this person looks like an ape anyway, all right, like some monkey. So um, I'm not sure if monkeys were an original creation of God, or whether um, monkeys and gorillas and a variety of them are an offspring of humans having sex with another type of animal and brought these in between. Now I know that of course a mule and a horse will make I think what was the animal? I can't remember the name of the animal they will make. Um, but they will be sterile. But way back in the beginning, there was a different situation. Because look, for example, Adam, Eve was taken from Adam, which meant that they had the same genetic structure. But yet their kids weren't necessarily brain dead or have the defects of a brother and sister having sex today. Right? That's how God could do things. God could do things so that um, Cain was born with a young lady who became his wife. Same thing with Seth. Now Abel's wife had to go because he died. All right, but even though they were born from the same parents, yet they were married and they never had defective kids. As today, a brother and sister married and have some real brain dead kids. Generally, there might be one and two might be normal, but the majority of them will just be some physical maladies and mental retardation and so on. And so, we just have to believe the Bible. I mean, people try to tell me it's a story and all that, but the Bible is it, man. I don't compare the Bible with other books to see whether the Bible is true. I'm comparing other things to see if they're true because the Bible is so profound. And if you're willing to accept truth, you'll see how profound it is. Because, as I told one guy, I said I did a study, and the age of the world is about 6,000 years. I did that from doing the genealogies. And he's saying that, oh, well, that wasn't true and this and that and whatever. But if you follow the story, God created the world and soon after he made humans. So um, saying that the planet is millions of years old is kind of just trying to stretch it. And any measurement that can tell you this planet is millions of years old, it's wrong. Whether it's carbon dating or whatever, it's wrong. I told a guy last night, I said, look at this, man. Look just in our lifespan. Look how people have become so evil. They're killing every day, they're robbing, they're stealing. Who is doing good these days? You say, well, no, I mean, relatively crime has reduced and so on. But I say that if this world was a million years, you don't think people would have become so evil that they would have killed out each other? There would be nobody on this planet. Look, for example, if you think that things were good even in the past and whatever, God said that man is becoming so evil that he has to drown them out with a flood because they were living so long and every day all they're doing is evil, planning how to do evil, planning evil. So for 900 something years, this guy's planning evil, man. They perfected evil. For example, I mean, God said that everything was good to eat except this tree here. Now you can't go in the forest and eat every tree from every tree because many of them are poisonous. So what happened? These humans lived all these years. They were taking this plant and mixing it with this seed and these two things, pollinating, cross pollination or whatever, and developing plants that end up being poisonous. Some having thorns, some smell bad. Even the way that plants pollinate these days causing all kind of fever, kind of problems in your breathing, your respiratory problems in the spring. God hadn't created those because He said everything was good. Plants have thorns. Plants have, um, plants are poisonous. Plants are carnivorous. I mean, God never did that, but Satan is the one behind this, and I'm trying to show you that here we have a classic example of where men are rather believe stupidness than believe the truth. Here you have a giant, and here you have a pygmy. And they're saying that this pygmy made this giant. What do you think? You think that's possible?